Well, greetings, and thank you for joining us again for a word concerning prayer. We've been considering Nehemiah's statement in Nehemiah chapter 2 and verse 4, where he said, "So I prayed to the God of heaven." Last week we considered the timing of Nehemiah's prayer, and now I want to consider the manner of his praying, the nature of his prayer. This is what I'm calling exclamatory prayer. And it is the kind of prayer that takes place, if you will, in the blink of an eye, in just a very brief moment of time. This prayer is different from other kinds of prayer in that, unlike persistent prayer, for instance, that continually asks and seeks and knocks, Matthew 7 verses 7 and 8, it's very different from that kind of prayer. Exclamatory prayer concentrates many askings and many knockings and many seekings into one condensed, flashing instance of prayer. For this reason, exclamatory prayer is commendable for us as Christians as one of the very best forms of prayer. Again, the stress that Nehemiah was experiencing, coupled with the need for an immediate reply to the king, it required that his prayer be short, crammed, if you will, into the brief moment between the king's inquiry and Nehemiah's answer. Artaxerxes, the king, likely didn't even realize that Nehemiah had snatched that brief moment to pray. Beloved, God has created us such that in moments of extreme stress or extreme danger, the mind can often work with absolutely astonishing speed. We've all heard or read of accounts of those who have near-death experiences. Some of them have testified that the entirety of their life flashed before them in an instant. And no doubt all of us have been in situations of extreme danger, and afterward, once the dust settled and the smoke's cleared, so to speak, we reflected that the number of thoughts going through our mind in that moment was truly astonishing. God created the mind to be able to work that way. And so it is with exclamatory prayer. It's offered from the mind in no more time than it takes to exhale, and it is able to cry out to God with astounding speed and with astounding accuracy. And God likewise is able to answer such prayers in no more than a mere moment of time. Notice also that Nehemiah's prayer was of such a remarkable nature that he particularly remembered this prayer. It remained in his memory to the very day that he recorded the history of his work. He remembered to include that. How often do we pray at length, and then maybe even as little as a few minutes later, we cannot recollect what we prayed? Not so with exclamatory prayer. Those prayers are of such a nature and intensity that they are not soon forgotten. These prayers are so special, so passionate, and God's answers so extraordinary that they remain fixed in our minds for years, maybe even decades or a lifetime. So again, Nehemiah said, "So I prayed to the God of heaven." May I encourage you to make it a practice to use exclamatory prayer. It is a most remarkable form and a most memorable form of prayer. May God bless you. Thanks again for joining us.